tackling something pretty specific, really trying to map out the path to financial success, like right now in the near future.
Yeah, exactly. We all see the headlines, right? Markets doing this, economy doing that. It's unpredictable.
Totally. So the real question is, what can you actually do? What behaviors, like right now, show you're on the right track financially, no matter what's happening out there?
And that's what we've dug into. We've distilled it down based on research looking ahead, specifically towards 2026. It boils down to 12 key habits.
12 signs, you could say.
Well, more than signs, really. They're habits. Indicators, yes, but things you can actively cultivate. And these habits seem to be what separates the future millionaires, the ones really set up for success by 2026 from, well, everyone else.
Okay, so not just vague advice.
No. This is meant to be a blueprint.
Yeah.
It's about changing how you think and how you operate, fundamentally, a cognitive overhaul almost.
So our mission for this deep dive isn't just to give you a list. We want to go deeper, right?
Absolutely. Forget the simple checklist. We need to unpack the why behind each habit. Why does valuing time over money actually work? How do you practically start investing in yourself?
Got it. So the listener gets the mechanism, not just the headline. This is basically a shortcut then to understanding that millionaire mindset, that strategy for the mid-2020s.
That's the perfect way to frame it. It's crucial. We're not just spotting signs like watching birds hoping you might get wealthy.
Yeah.
We're identifying habits you can literally start building.
Like?
Today, right after listening, to put yourself on that track to real, lasting financial freedom.
Okay, sounds powerful. Where do we start?
We have to start with the foundation, the mindset, because honestly, everything else builds on this.
All right, section 1, the foundational mindset, that internal shift. And habit number 1, it sounds almost like a cliche, doesn't it? But the execution is different. It's valuing time over money.
It really is the absolute starting point. You cannot skip this. Money, you can always make more, lose it, earn it back. But time, once an hour is gone, it's gone forever.
Non-renewable.
Exactly. And the second someone who's heading towards wealth truly internalizes that, boom, their whole decision-making process changes instantly.
How so? What's the tangible difference?
They stop measuring success just in dollars earned. They start measuring it in hours saved or hours leveraged effectively. Time becomes the real currency.
Okay, but let's make that practical. Say someone's starting out, maybe they feel like they have more time than money right now. How do they apply this? How do they treat time like gold?
Great question. They start by assigning a value to their time, even if it's just hypothetical at first. Let's say you decide your focused work time is worth $50 an hour.
Okay.
Now, you face a task you really hate, or something you're slow at, or just something that doesn't move the needle much, like, I don't know, mowing the lawn, tedious data entry, cleaning the house.
Yeah, the stuff that eats up weekends.
Right. So you ask yourself, can I pay someone, say, $20 an hour to do this task? And if doing that frees up my $50 an hour time slot.
Which you can then use for something higher value.
It's exactly. To work on your side business, learn a critical new skill, make important calls, network. If the math works out, you delegate it. Or you find a tool to automate it immediately. That time is too valuable to waste on low-return activities.
Huh. That's a really different way of looking at it. It flips the script. Suddenly, spending hours scrolling Instagram or binge-watching something without any real intention.
It's not just relaxing.
No, it's a measurable financial loss based on your own time valuation. It's the opportunity cost made real.
Precisely. It's about being intentional with every single hour. The research really highlights this. Successful people actively replace those dead hours with high-leverage stuff. Like deep work on their main project, taking an online course for a specific certification, targeted networking calls, even just focused reading in their field.
And that one intentional hour.
That 1 hour, used wisely, could genuinely open a door, land a client, spark an idea, make a connection, something that pays dividends for years. It proves that the time itself was way more valuable than any small amount of money saved by, doing everything yourself.
Wow. Okay, that intense focus on time naturally flows into the second habit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which you mentioned is about shifting gears mentally, from defense to offense, shifting from survival to growth.
Yes, it's the necessary next step. Most people, unfortunately, are stuck in what the source material calls financial survival mode.
Define that for us. What does that feel like?
It means your whole mental energy, your psychological bandwidth is consumed by scarcity. You're just focused on making the rent, covering the minimum payments, keeping the lights on.
Just trying to make it through the month.
Exactly. And living in this constant low-level dread of the unexpected. What if the car breaks down? What if the boiler goes? It's a purely reactive state, constantly putting out fires.
Right. But the wealthy, or those on that path, they're not reactive like that. They're proactive. So how does that switch actually flip in someone's brain?
It flips when the primary question changes. They stop asking, how do I just survive this month? And they start asking, how do I exponentially expand my capacity this month?
Expand capacity, okay.
So when a problem hits, like an unexpected bill, the survival mindset just feels the pain. Anxiety spikes. The growth mindset feels it too, but then immediately pivots. It asks, okay, what skill do I need to learn right now? Or what system do I need to build so that this specific kind of problem never threatens my security again? See the difference? It's about building moats, building systems, not just dousing the flames as they pop up.
That reframing is incredibly powerful. It means you're not just living paycheck to paycheck, dreading Mondays. Your whole focus shifts to expansion.
Expanding everything, your income streams, your influence, your skills, your long-term impact.
But let's be real. If someone listening is caught in that scarcity loop right now, feeling that pressure, making that leap to abundance thinking sounds, well, terrifying, maybe even impossible. How do they start?
It starts small. The first practical step is budgeting for growth, not just survival, even if it's tiny.
A growth fund.
Exactly. Set aside a specific amount, maybe it's just $20 a month, to start dedicated purely to things that promise future growth. Education, a piece of software, books, a tool for a side hustle.
So even a small amount makes a difference.
Psychologically, yes. That action, no matter the dollar figure, shifts your focus. You're moving from just protecting what little you have to actively, aggressively building more. It's a visible investment in your future capacity. And that becomes a powerful engine, especially looking towards 2026.
Okay, that makes sense. Small, concrete actions. And once you're operating in that growth mode, looking for expansion, you naturally start seeing the world differently, which I think brings us to habit number 6, seeing opportunities where others see problems.
Yes. This is such a critical separator. It's what the source calls the complaint trap.
The complaint trap. I like that.
Yeah, think about it. The vast majority of people encounter friction, frustration, inefficiency in their daily lives. And they stop right there.
They complain to friends, online, whatever.
They vent, they share the misery, maybe they bond over it, but crucially, they accept it as just the way things are, an inevitable annoyance.
Okay. But the future millionaires.
They feel the friction too, but their brain immediately goes to the next step. Wait a minute. Is there a business here? Can this problem be solved?
We always hear the classic examples, right? Uber fixing the taxi nightmare, Airbnb disrupting hotels. But can we think of a more, current example, something relatable now?
Sure. Think about software frustrations. People complain constantly about how 2 different apps they use for their business don't talk to each other. Manual data entry, wasted time.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge one.
So the average person just grumbles. The growth-minded person thinks, could I build a simple bridge, maybe using one of those low-code tools like Zapier or Make? They create a small, niche solution connecting those 2 specific apps for a particular type of user.
And then offer it as a service.
Exactly, maybe a small monthly subscription. They literally monetize the exact pain point that everyone else is just whining about.
So the core idea is, what? Pain point economics. If you find yourself automatically jumping from, oh, this is annoying, to how could this be fixed and who would pay for that fix?
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
That's a massive predictor of financial success. It requires empathy first to even recognize the pain clearly, and then some level of, creative or technical thinking to figure out the solution.
It's like developing a new reflex.
It really is. If you can train yourself to analyze every inconvenience, every complaint you hear, yours or others, as a potential product or service, well, you're essentially practicing wealth creation thinking all day long.
Okay, that's a powerful habit to build. Now, all these mindset shifts, valuing time, growth focus, seeing opportunities, they need an anchor, right? Something to aim them towards. That seems to be habit number 10, thinking long term.
Absolutely paramount. It's the ability to maintain that visionary approach even when the day-to-day is chaotic.
How long term are we talking?
Well, the average person's financial planning horizon is what? Next paycheck, end of the month, maybe the end of the year if they're really planning.
Yeah, sounds about right.
People on the path to wealth. They are consistently operating on a minimum 5-year rolling plan. often 10 years, sometimes longer.
Wow, 5 or 10 years out. That sounds honestly a bit exhausting. How do they actually do that? What are the specific markers? How do they not just get swamped by immediate needs and fires?
You see it in the concreteness of their goals. We're not talking vague wishes. We're talking highly detailed retirement projections, maybe setting up trust structures years in advance, making investments that are intentionally illiquid.
Illiquid, meaning they can't easily sell them.
Right. For at least 5, maybe 7 years or more. They deliberately lock capital away. Why? To prevent themselves from making emotional short-term decisions, panic selling in a downturn, or splurging it when things feel good.
So they're building guardrails against their own short-term impulses. That's the evidence of the habit. But psychologically, what's going on? What allows someone to consistently put off today's comfort for a reward that's maybe a decade away?
It's about crafting a really clear, really compelling story for their future self.
Yeah.
They aren't just saving for some abstract concept called retirement.
No.
They're saving to fund, say, the 2036 Family Philanthropic Foundation, or the 2031 sabbatical year to write my novel, or buying that specific vineyard in 2035.
So making the future goal incredibly specific and desirable.
Exactly. That specificity makes the long-term vision feel more real, more emotionally resonant than buying some fleeting gadget today. They truly understand deep down that every dollar saved or invested today is a vote cast for becoming that specific future person they envision.
Okay, so we've got the mindset dialed in. Value time, focus on growth, spot opportunities, think long term. Now, where do people actually put their resources, their time and money? Section 2 seems to be about investing in the most critical asset of all.
Themselves, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which brings us straight to habit number 3, investing in yourself first.
This feels non-negotiable, right? You hear it all the time. Buffett's famous quote.
The best investment you can make is in yourself. And it's true, because the returns compound like crazy, and crucially, they can't be taxed away or easily stolen by market crashes. Your skills, your knowledge, that's yours.
So before you even think about multiplying money in the market,
you have to relentlessly multiply your own capabilities first, your knowledge base, your skill set. That's the foundation for everything else.
Let's get specific here for the listener. When we say tangible investments in yourself, beyond just, buying a book, what high-leverage activities are these future millionaires really prioritizing right now looking towards 2026?
They're zeroing in on skills with almost geometric returns, skills at scale. So in the current landscape, that means things like becoming really proficient with AI tools, not just using them, but understanding how they work.
Okay, AI literacy. What else?
Advanced data analysis, being able to actually interpret complex data, not just look at a chart. High-stakes negotiation skills. Mastering digital marketing, specifically capturing attention online.
Things that directly translate to value creation.
Yes. And they're willing to spend real money on high-quality specialized certifications or deep dive courses in these areas. Not just, generic university degrees necessarily, but targeted skill acquisition.
And it's not just mental skills, is it?
Absolutely not. Crucially, they invest heavily in their physical and mental health. Fitness, proper nutrition, maybe therapy or coaching. They recognize that peak cognitive performance, peak execution, requires a foundation of peak biological function. You can't build an empire if you're burned out and unhealthy.
It's like treating yourself as a high-performance asset that needs constant upkeep and upgrades. The analogy holds. Every new skill you acquire is like unlocking a new door to opportunity.
Perfect analogy. And the flip side's also true. If you stop learning, stop upgrading your skills, those doors eventually start closing as the world changes. Obsolescence is real.
And the ROI on self-investment can be massive, right?
Think about it. If you're earning, say, $100,000 a year and spending $5,000 on a specific certification course could realistically bump your earning potential to $150,000.
That's a 1,000% return in the first year alone.
Exactly. Future millionaires see these internal investments as, frankly, the cheapest and safest high-return bets they can possibly make. Far safer than speculating on some random stock.
Which leads perfectly into the next habit, number 8. Obsession with learning. This sounds similar to investing in yourself, but maybe broader.
It is broader, and it's about the ongoing nature of it. It's that lifelong student mentality, but with a critical distinction. It'd have to be targeted learning.
Targeted? What do you mean?
In a world changing this fast, wealth isn't built on static knowledge, what you already know. It's built on your dynamic ability to adapt based on new information flooding in constantly.
So complacency is the enemy.
If you feel comfortable with what you currently know, you're already falling behind. Seriously. That comfort is a danger signal in 2026.
Okay, but I have to push back a little here. This obsession with learning, doesn't that risk leading to just like constant information overload, maybe even burnout? Where's the line between being a lifelong learner and just being perpetually stressed and overworked?
That's a fair challenge. The difference, according to the research, lies in the method of learning. It's not about passive consumption. It's about curated and applied learning.
Okay, unpack that. Curated and applied.
Future millionaires aren't just endlessly scrolling Wikipedia or watching random YouTube tutorials. They're selective. They're reading industry-specific research papers, listening to podcasts featuring experts 10 years ahead of them, seeking out direct mentorship.
So quality over quantity.
And crucially, the application part. They have a tight feedback loop. They learn something new in the morning, maybe a new marketing tactic, a coding technique, a negotiation strategy, and they actively try to apply it in their business or their investments, like that same afternoon.
Ah, so it's not learning for learning's sake, it's learning for immediate action, transforming knowledge from a passive hobby into an active tool for adaptation.
You nailed it. And that need for speed, for rapid adaptation, is only going to become more critical as technology and markets keep accelerating.
Things change so fast now.
Unbelievably fast.
Yeah.
The ability to understand and pivot based on, say, new AI developments, or shifts in global supply chains, or changing consumer behavior patterns, that's not just nice to have, it's the defining skill of those who will thrive financially by 2026. Curiosity isn't just a personality trait anymore. It's a high-earner survival skill.
Okay, so you've invested in yourself, you're constantly learning and adapting. What's next? You need to leverage forces outside yourself, right? Which brings us to habit number 5, surrounding yourself with ambitious people.
The old saying, your network is your net worth. It sounds like another cliche, but let's get into the psychology. Why does this actually work?
Yeah, what's the mechanism?
Your network fundamentally sets your standards.
Yeah.
Your definition of normal. If the 5 people you spend the most time with are generally content with their current situation, maybe aiming for small, incremental improvements, talking about safe, low-risk plans,
Your own ambition kind of levels down.
it naturally deflates to meet their average. It's subconscious gravity. Your brain starts thinking their level of effort and aspiration is the norm, the default.
So the advice here is for the listener to do a serious, maybe uncomfortable audit of their inner circle.
A radical quality check. And look, this isn't about ruthlessly cutting off old friends who aren't hyper-ambitious. It's about consciously and intentionally seeking out new connections. People who stretch you, who operate on a different level.
Strategic association.
Exactly. When you start regularly spending time with people who casually talk about launching 7-figure projects, or analyzing complex international investments, or planning global expansion, suddenly your old definition of big goals starts to feel, well, small.
Mediocrity becomes uncomfortable.
Precisely. Their everyday conversation, their assumptions, their expectations, they become your new baseline. It's like ambition inflation, forced higher just by being in that environment. Their normal recalibrates yours upwards.
Okay, but how do you actually do that? How do you build that kind of high ambition network without coming across as, just a user, opportunistic or transactional? People can smell that a mile away.
Great point. The sources emphasize focusing on providing disproportionate value first.
Give before you get.
Massively. Don't approach successful, busy people asking for their time or mentorship right off the bat. Instead, figure out how you can help them. Offer a specific insight you gained from your obsessive learning. Share a resource. Use a skill you developed from investing in yourself, habit 3, to solve a small problem for them.
Become a contributor, not a taker.
Exactly. When you become a genuine source of value to them, reciprocity kicks in naturally. You earn your place in their circle. Future millionaires understand networking isn't a one-way extraction pipe. It's a vibrant ecosystem built on mutual give and take.
All right, we've built the foundation, the right mindset, investing in yourself, building the right network. Now we get into the nuts and bolts, the practical execution, the specific financial strategies that actually turn all that effort into real sustainable wealth. Starting with habit number 7, diversifying income.
This is huge in today's world. Relying solely on one paycheck, one source of income, that's playing with fire. It's the ultimate financial vulnerability.
One layoff, one industry disruption, and you're sunk.
Exactly. So future millionaires view that single source dependency not as security, but as extreme, unacceptable risk. The core strategy to counteract that is building multiple independent streams of income, creating financial robustness.
What does real diversification look like now, though, especially with traditional jobs feeling less secure? It can't just mean get a second job, right? That just burns you out.
No, you're right. It's usually not about just trading more hours for dollars. The focus is heavily on building passive or semi-passive income streams.
Okay, examples.
Things like taking specialized knowledge you have, maybe from Habit 8, obsessive learning, and turning it into a digital product, an online course, an ebook, a high-value template or tool.
Monetizing expertise.
Yes. Or creating passive income through assets. That could be traditional real estate rentals, or maybe investing in REITs, real estate investment trusts if you don't want to be a landlord, or building a portfolio of dividend-paying stocks or bonds that generate regular cash flow.
The goal is income not directly tied to your time.
Precisely. You want to decouple income generation from the hours you actively work. That's the path to freedom.
So these execution examples aren't just about more work, they're about smart work. Leveraging assets, your knowledge, your skills from Habit 3, your capital to work for you.
Absolutely. Think of your financial life like a dam holding back water, but with multiple release valves. If one valve, let's say, your main job gets suddenly shut off due to a recession or company issues.
And other valves keep the water flowing.
Right. Your online course keeps selling, your dividend checks keep arriving, maybe your small freelance retainer continues. The cash flow doesn't completely stop. Planting those seeds of income diversification today is how you build genuine financial resilience and independence for tomorrow, for 2026, and beyond.
Okay, multiple streams flowing in, but that's only half the battle, isn't it? You need to manage what comes in. Which brings us to habit number 9. Managing money wisely.
Oh, absolutely critical. This is the retention piece. We all know stories or see examples of people who earn enormous amounts of money, but end up broke.
Lottery winners, athletes, sometimes even high-flying executives.
Exactly. They violate that fundamental rule. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. Wealth isn't just income. It's the accumulated gap between your income and your spending over time.
And the biggest enemy of widening that gap is lifestyle creep, right?
The silent killer. As your income goes up, it's so tempting, so easy for your discretionary spending to rise right along with it. The slightly nicer car, the more expensive dinners out, the extra subscription services.
And suddenly, even though you're earning more, you're not actually saving or investing anymore. You've neutralized your own progress.
It's incredibly common. Future millionaires actively, consciously fight lifestyle creep. They do it through rigorous systems.
Like what?
Like detailed budgeting, knowing exactly where every dollar is going, tracking expenses religiously, often using apps or software, and crucially, implementing the pay yourself first principle. Meaning they automate their savings and investments. The moment income hits their account, a predetermined percentage is automatically transferred to savings, to investment accounts, before they even have a chance to spend it on discretionary stuff. Saving isn't an afterthought, it's the first priority.
That automation seems key for discipline. Now, beyond just controlling spending, what about debt? That's a huge part of money management. How do the wealthy think about and use debt?
They make a very sharp distinction between what we might call bad debt and good debt, or strategic debt versus consumption debt.
Okay, explain the difference.
Consumption debt is borrowing money for things that depreciate or are consumed. Think credit card debt for vacations or clothes, high-interest loans for fancy cars you don't need. This type of debt just drains your wealth and is avoided like the plague.
Got it. And strategic debt?
Strategic debt is borrowing money, usually at a relatively low interest rate, to acquire assets that are expected to grow in value or generate income greater than the cost of the debt. Think a mortgage on a rental property or a business loan to fund expansion that promises high returns.
So, using debt as leverage, a tool.
Exactly. It's using other people's money carefully to potentially multiply your own returns faster than you could just using your own cash. But the discipline here, the wise money management, is absolutely critical. You have to make sure the potential return justifies the risk and that the debt levels remain manageable. It ensures that all that income diversification we talked about actually translates into retained, usable capital that can grow.
That discipline, whether it's fighting lifestyle creep or managing debt smartly, it seems deeply connected to habit number 4, which we skipped over earlier but fits perfectly here. Comfort with delayed gratification.
Yes, fundamental. Perhaps the most core psychological discipline needed for building serious wealth. It boils down to this. Can you resist the immediate pleasure, the dopamine hit, of buying that shiny thing right now?
In favor of
In favor of investing that same money, that same resource, for something potentially much, much bigger down the road. It's essentially waging a constant internal war against impulse.
The research used a great scenario for this, right? Two people get the same unexpected bonus, say $10,000.
Yeah, classic illustration. Person A immediately uses it for maybe a down payment on a new luxury car or a big fancy vacation or just designer clothes. Instant gratification.
Feels good in the moment.
Absolutely. Person B, however, takes that same $10,000 and puts it straight into their long-term diversified investment portfolio, maybe automated low-cost index funds.
And fast forward 5 years.
5 years later, person A has, a slightly older car that's depreciated, maybe some nice photos, faded memories. Person B, their initial $10,000, so that the power of compounding might now be worth $15,000, $20,000, maybe more, depending on the market. They didn't just preserve the capital, they grew it significantly.
So what's the psychological trick person B uses? How do they make that sacrifice feel less painful in the moment?
Often it involves a form of mental accounting. They don't just see $10,000 today. They mentally assign its future value to it. They think this $10,000 isn't just $10, it's potentially $50K towards my kid's college fund in 15 years, or $100K towards my retirement goal.
They make the future reward more tangible than the present temptation, essentially prioritizing their future self over their present self.
That's exactly it. Patience, in this context, isn't just waiting passively. It's active proof of financial discipline. If you can consistently resist that urge for instant results, you demonstrate you have the character, the fortitude required to grow serious long-term wealth. Instant consumption signals short-term thinking, delayed gratification signals commitment to that long-term vision we talked about.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Finally, in this execution section, there's an element of needing to step outside the comfort zone. Habit number 11, taking calculated risks.
Right, because playing it perfectly safe all the time, while it guarantees comfort, maybe stability, but comfort and stability rarely lead to extraordinary wealth creation.
But risk sounds scary. People think of gambling, losing everything.
And that's why the source material makes a critical distinction. We are not talking about blind gambles.
Yeah.
Future millionaires engage in calculated risk.
Calculated risk, what does that mean in practice?
It essentially means making decisions under conditions of uncertainty, but doing so only after being thoroughly informed by research and planning. It's strategic, not reckless.
Okay, so what does that rigorous calculation process actually look like? How can someone listening differentiate between just taking a wild leap of faith and making a smart, managed risk?
It generally involves 3 key steps. First, deep, rigorous research. Understanding the potential market, the competition, the technology, and critically, all the potential ways this venture could fail. What are the failure points?
Note the downside. Okay, step 2.
Planning and capital allocation. This means deciding up front exactly how much capital you are willing to risk on this venture, and ensuring it's an amount you can genuinely afford to lose without jeopardizing your overall financial health. A common rule of thumb is never risking more than, say, 5% or 10% of your total investable assets on any single high-risk experiment.
Contain the potential damage.
And the third step, having a clear exit strategy before you even start. Knowing your kill switch. At what point, based on data or predefined milestones not being met, will you cut your losses and shut the experiment down? This prevents throwing good money after bad based on emotion or ego.
So this isn't some wild, adventurous gamble at all. It sounds more like running a scientific experiment. Hypothesis, controlled variables, data monitoring, clear success-fail metrics.
That's a perfect way to put it. They're minimizing the potential downside while trying to maximize the potential upside. They view a small, calculated failure not as a disaster, but as necessary market feedback. Tuition paid for the next attempt, which will be smarter because of what they learned.
Makes sense. Playing it safe keeps you stuck near the average.
Exactly. Taking these smart, calculated risks is often the only way to break free from the gravitational pull of the median income and achieve something truly significant. That confidence to act decisively, even when success isn't guaranteed, is a hallmark trait of wealth builders who manage to thrive even in uncertain, turbulent economic times.
Okay, we have covered 11 incredibly detailed habits. Mindset shifts, self-investment, networking, practical execution, financial discipline, calculated risks. But now we land on the final one, habit number 12. The one trait that seems to underpin everything else, the non-negotiable quality, the fail-safe, that ensures setbacks are just temporary bumps, not giving up easily.
Persistence, grit, resilience, whatever you want to call it. This is the engine that ensures all those other 11 habits actually get the chance to compound and pay off in the long run.
Because without it,
The moment that calculated risk inevitably fails sometimes,
Right.
or the moment the market takes a sharp downturn, or you face a major business rejection, the natural human tendency is to retreat.
back to safety, back to comfort, back to survival mode.
Exactly. Persistence is the force that overrides that instinct.
We really need to hammer this point home with some realism, don't we? The path to significant financial success or achieving any big goal, it's never a smooth straight line upwards.
Never. It is inevitably littered with failures. Big ones, small ones. Rejections, false starts, projects that just don't work out. Moments of profound self-doubt and setbacks that feel devastating at the time, especially if you were taking those calculated risks we just talked about. Failure is part of the process.
So the sources are saying that resilience, the ability to absorb those hits and keep going, is the truly essential quality.
It's the ultimate guarantee, in a way. If you cultivate the internal fortitude, the resilience, to keep pushing forward, to view failure not as a final verdict, but simply as a data point.
Okay, that approach didn't work. What did I learn? How do I adjust?
Right. If you can do that consistently, success in some form becomes almost statistically inevitable over a long enough time horizon. We love to celebrate the overnight success stories, don't we?
Yeah, they make good headlines.
But they're mostly myths. Dig into the backstory of almost any truly successful, self-made millionaire or billionaire. You'll find a string of failures, sometimes catastrophic failures, businesses that went bankrupt, ideas that crashed and burned, fortunes lost and rebuilt. They just didn't quit.
So persistence isn't just stubbornness, it's actually a form of high-level risk management itself. It ensures that all the time you invested, habit 1, all the knowledge you acquired, habit 8, all the capital you carefully allocated, habit 11, it's never totally wasted.
That's a brilliant way to put it. Precisely. If you have the core resilience to maintain that long-term vision, habit 10, and just keep putting one foot in front of the other, especially when things get tough and others are throwing in the towel, you dramatically increase the probability that all those other smart strategic habits, diversification, delayed gratification, wise money management, will eventually reach critical mass and deliver those amazing compound returns they promise. Resilience is the final, essential piece that separates those who merely aspire from those who actually achieve. Hashtag outro.
Wow, that was incredibly thorough. A really deep dive into the DNA of future wealth builders. Let's try and quickly recap those 12 pillars for success, especially looking towards 2026.
Okay, let's list them out. 1, valuing your time like it's the ultimate non-renewable resource. 2, shifting your core mindset from just surviving to actively seeking growth.
3, investing heavily and continuously in yourself, your skills, your health. 4, mastering delayed gratification, resisting impulse spending for long-term gain.
5, strategically surrounding yourself with ambitious people who raise your standards. 6, seeing opportunities and potential businesses where others just see problems or complain.
7, building multiple diverse streams of income to create financial robustness. 8, maintaining an obsession with targeted, applied learning to stay adaptable.
9, managing your money wisely, tracking, budgeting, avoiding bad debt, paying yourself first. 10, thinking long-term, operating with a clear 5 to 10-year vision.
11, taking calculated, well-researched risks to break away from the average. And finally, number 12, sheer, unyielding persistence. Just not giving up when things get tough.
That's the full dozen, and we really encourage you, as you listen to this, to do a quick mental check. How many of those 12 habits feel like they're already part of your regular way of operating, your daily routine?
Be honest with yourself.
Yeah. The source material actually suggested that if you genuinely recognized more than half, say 7 or more, as already being pretty ingrained for you, then you are demonstrably on an accelerated path towards significant financial success.
And if the number is lower, say only 2 or 3.
Don't see it as a criticism or a limitation. View it as the clearest, most actionable roadmap you could possibly ask for. You now know exactly which areas to focus on developing.
That's the key takeaway, isn't it? These aren't fixed personality traits you're either born with or not.
Absolutely not. They are skills. They are behavioral muscles. And like any muscle, you can start exercising them, strengthening them, starting today, right now. The path to wealth isn't defined by luck or some single big break. It's defined by these small, consistent, daily choices.
Which leaves us with a final thought, maybe a challenge for everyone listening.
Yeah, a provocative question to maybe mull over during the rest of your day or the next 24 hours. What is one specific small action you can take? Maybe related to saving an hour of time or learning one new thing or automating one small saving that will consciously move you just one step away from survival mode thinking and one step towards growth mode thinking.
Just one small thing.
Start with that single intention, because that small, deliberate shift repeated daily, that's the real beginning of turning that long-term vision into reality.